That's a really good question. I think there is a lot of interest for Greens running at different levels of office. I want to kind of address that and then address the thing that Noah was talking about as well. So this year in 2025, we've had 103 Green races so far, and we've won 47 of them, which is a pretty fair amount, right? Like close to like 46% of the races we enter, we win. We did run for some congressional seats in Texas and in Arizona, but we did not win those. Where we do tend to win is things like city councils and state assemblies and stuff like that, right? So pretty, what everyone says we should be doing is generally what we are doing. It's just not being picked up by media, so it's not covered and it just kind of goes, by the wayside. Noah, in regards to the circumstances or the petition that you brought up, yeah, they hate trans people these days. And that kind of legislation is directly targeting trans kids. Like it really, really is, like very specifically, pointedly, directly, with no ambiguity about it. And it really hurts. Not just, I'm a whole adult person, so my affectedness by that is different. But when you're a young person, and these opportunities for participation in group activities like sports and connection with your community of peers, of other kids your age, to be included in them and to just participate in your youngness, right? Your youth, that's completely being denied to these kids. And it's so unfair and just absolutely cruel and mean-spirited in its orientation and its outcomes and goals. It's really pretty disgusting stuff. The truth of the matter is, when we look around at the elections over the last week to see how the Republicans spent so much money on anti-transgender advertising and lost all of those races, really goes to show that, broadly speaking, Americans have no appetite for that kind of transphobia and that kind of bigotry. There are other things which are more pressing to them and more concerning. And being a bigot on record is certainly not one of them. Anyway, that's all I have. Margaret, over.
And it's essentially a multi-million-dollar sexual harassment campaign against the children of Washington State. The idea is to force doctors, to force the state into the relationship between families and their doctors, and force doctors to assign genders to children at age 13, and then disclose that to school officials in some kind of strange, I don't know, it has something to do with sports. But that's the cover that they give to it. But it's just a sexual harassment campaign. So that's, Washington. I think the Green Party of Washington could take a role in either coming up with a competing initiative or educating people about this anti-LGBTQ initiative. There are other things, of course, we could do. We have, what aspect of anti-ICE organizing is there not enough actual organization around? And this is, actually a coordinated group of people, with a plan,
We are not single issue people, and we don't live single issue lives. That is a form of erasure and tokenization. The second form of erasure is to not acknowledge that in this moment there are many who are experiencing a loss of access to health care, to housing, and many resources. This refugee crisis that's happening across the country, 400,000 folks displaced, trans folks displaced, that's on top of the crisis that has existed in Black trans community for many, many years. Maybe now we can get some resolution and care for our community. In spite of the dismal outcomes, Black community, Black women, Black trans women, trans folks across the country have led the way in journalism, politics, economic development, and they have led our entire society. We're leaders not just on trans issues, so stop coming to us just for trans issues. We're leaders in
I'm the executive director of Gender Justice League and one of the co-founders of Trans Pride Seattle. As you all know, 16 years ago, Rachel Crandall created this day because At the time, the only time the world would pay attention to trans people was when we were murdered. Trans Day of Remembrance was the first large day that we had, and here in Seattle, we also created Trans Pride Seattle for the same reason. Thank you for honoring our community and bringing visibility. I'm here as one of those people that recently moved back to Washington State from Virginia. I was working in DC for several years on federal policy, and there are so many people that are moving to this city right now who were not here a year ago. Families who packed what they had, what they could, and moved here from Texas, from Missouri, from Idaho, from Tennessee, because those states made it impossible for them to raise their children, for them to be themselves at work, and now we're seeing in Idaho for people to go to the bathroom, making it a felony to go to the bathroom. Many of those parents have reached out to us and have told us that they moved because they couldn't treat their children who are in distress. Our city provides some of the last refuge, and I know many of us know this. And at Gender Justice League, we talk to these people every day because we've been providing direct service. We started as Just in Seattle, thanks to a grant from the city with our gender-based violence services. We grew to the county and then the state, and now we serve people in 27 states who call us for support. I'm really proud of that. I'm proud that we've built that we are one of the few beacons across the country to serve domestic violence survivors who are trans and two-spirit and non-binary. Seattle has become a refuge, and we have a lot to be proud of, but we have a lot to do. This year, a hedge fund millionaire named Brian Haywood has spent nearly $5 million to put 2 measures on the ballot in November to ban trans kids from playing sports and to out our young people in schools. These measures are going to hurt all young people. It's going to force every girl in our state to have embarrassing, invasive exams of their genitals in order to play sports. It's going to erode the trust between students, teachers, and guidance counselors. The things that they need to say to get support, to get help, to report abuse are going to be reported directly to their parents immediately. I know what that's like. I was in foster care. I disclosed the abuse I was experiencing to a guidance counselor. I can't imagine the fear that young people would have if they didn't have other supportive adults in their life. We all need to band together, not just to be visible, but to take action. And I'm urging everybody here to check out our campaign, No Hate in Washington State, to endorse, to support, to volunteer, and to donate. We are being outspent 10-1 by out-of-state millionaires who want to push their hateful agenda. As folks have said, Seattle is one of the last refuges, and we must defend what we have here. Thank you so much.
Transgender. All transgender residents of Kentucky are about to be declared mentally ill and be barred from employment in education. This is something that is happening right now. Everyone in the room knows where this leads to. I'm Japanese American. In 1942, my 6-year-old grandfather and his family were rounded up and forced to live at the Santa Anita racetrack in horse stables until they finished building the concentration camp in the desert. And what do we see here now? The federal government buying up warehouses to put people in while they finish the concentration camps out in the middle of the desert, out in the middle of the swamp. We know where this is going. This has happened before. And it's not just immigrants. It's not just trans people. It's all of us. It starts with us because we're the most vulnerable. It's the easiest for them to go for. We're the canary in the coal mine for the whole nation. And we, as a nation, have an obligation to adhere to the principles of what happened before must not happen again. The atrocities that this nation has wrought upon its citizens before cannot be allowed to continue. The sanctuary that Seattle represents must remain sacrosanct in the minds of the transgender community and the minds of America at large. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to the council, and thank you so much for this proclamation that